What's going on, podcast listeners? My name is Michael Chernow. I am a restaurateur and lifestyle entrepreneur, and I am truly obsessed with living a life better than yesterday through wellness, fitness, and good vibes. I've always wondered if the drive to succeed is something we are born with, or if it's something that is made over time through grit, drive, and perseverance. I get to answer that question exactly, and the goal of this podcast is to talk with people that have absolutely crushed it in life and have inspired me to do the same. This is Born or Made. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Born or Made podcast. Today, we are all lucky because we have a guest on the show who inspires so many people. David Meltzer is the co-founder of Sports One Marketing. He's the former CEO of Leigh Steinberg Sports Entertainment, the company that actually inspired one of my favorite movies of all time, Jerry Maguire. David is also the executive producer of a new TV series called The 2-Minute Drill. And his mission, which is an incredible mission, if you pull this mission off, I will be so stoked to be on the team with you. You are trying to really empower 1 billion people to be happy. Welcome to the show, David.
Thank you. I just have to correct one thing. I'm trying to empower over 1 billion people to be happy, so don't limit me.
Got you. Over 1 billion people to be happy. Happiness is a word that gets tossed around a lot. And I think today happiness has really taken a different direction. Before we step into the Born or Made thing, I just want to ask you this question because your mission is so powerful and so meaningful to me in my life, and I'm sure the listeners here. What is happiness?
Great question. To me, happiness is the ability, it's an ability to enjoy the consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of your own potential. So happiness is the ability to enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of your own potential. And I believe here on earth, the best way to create happiness is to teach people how to make a lot of money so that they can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. And if you have those three things in your life directed towards that philosophy of enjoying the consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential, you will understand the definition and live the definition of happiness.
The consistent, persistent pursuit. Say that one more time. Of your potential.
Right. Consistent every day, persistent without quit, pursuit of your potential.
Was there a moment in your career where you felt like your happiness bucket was empty?
Yeah, when I was at my top of my game, I was a multimillionaire running Leigh Steinberg Sports Entertainment, believing over the last decade or so that money buys love or happiness because I grew up with it, none of it. And 9 months out of law school, I was a millionaire, capable of buying my mom, who raised 6 kids as a single mom, a house and a car, everything in my life. To that point, ironically, I confirmed that money bought love and happiness, and I ended up empty, purposeless, not passionate, and really surrounded myself with the wrong people, the wrong ideas, and in a spiraling lifestyle that left me empty.
Were you conscious of that? Because I have a similar story in the sense that, I thought I was doing everything that I was quote unquote supposed to be doing. But at the end of the day, I really felt empty. Like there was moments where, I enjoyed a fair bit of it, but there were real moments that lasted periods of time that I just felt completely, I felt completely lost. Like, what am I doing this for? I learned early on that money was not a major motivator of mine. However, we all love money, and money certainly does, bring a level of comfort to life. There's just no doubt about it. But what was that moment for you when you decided to change direction?
For me, it was when I came home. I was running Leigh Steinberg, and I had multi-millions of dollars, access to everything that I wanted. And I had asked my wife if I could go to the Grammy Awards with Little John the rapper. And she told me I wasn't paying attention to my job, wasn't paying attention to my family, and that I was partying way too much, that I shouldn't go. So I lied to her and I went to the Grammy Awards with John and partied really, really hard. Came home 5:30 in the morning, completely obliterated. And my wife was waiting for me to tell me for the first time in my life, and I know my wife since the fourth grade, that she wasn't happy. She told me that I better take stock in who I was and what I wanted to become, or I was going to not only lose her, but lose my life. And here's the irony. I wasn't ready to hear it. You know, she told me that, and I woke up the next morning ready to get divorced. I was offended by her. I couldn't believe how dare she say that to me after everything I provided her. We had homes and golf course, ski mountain. We had everything, you know, Ferrari, a Porsche. How dare she say that to me? And fortunately for me, I had a jacket that my father had given to me 6 years earlier when I was 30 to tell me that I was in the wrong direction. He told me to hang it in my closet. At that time, I wasn't ready to understand the power of the jacket because he had ripped out all the pockets of the jacket, telling me that money doesn't buy love or happiness, that I was wasting my life to be the richest man in the cemetery, that this jacket with no pockets would remind me I couldn't bring anything with me when I'm gone. And if it wasn't for that jacket, I'm not sure I would have shifted the paradigm of my belief system so quickly. But I looked at the jacket and just started to cry, thinking, man, I hate my father. I hated my wife. The truth was, I didn't. I hated myself. I was the person that I hated. I hated and blamed them for it myself. And I was empty and lonely, even though I had everything I dreamed of materialistically, that I needed to take stock in who I was. And that was the changing part of my life where I started living my life. And it wasn't an overnight success at it, but living my life with gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and inspiration, or effective communication, as I call it. But it was a great, guidepost for me to start the change that I needed and save my marriage, save my life. And now I've been able, I actually ended up going bankrupt 2 years after that, losing over $100 million. And I've rebuilt everything based off of, you talked about money. Money allows you to shop. That's all it does for me. And if I shop for the right things, I'll be happy. If I shop for the things I don't need to impress people I don't like, I'll be unhappy. So I've learned to shop for the right things in my life. I've learned to make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun. And I teach my values and daily practices to empower other people to do the same. That's how I'm going to create this abundant philosophy, collective consciousness for the world to be happy.
Wow. That's amazing, man. I'm sure it's hard to really sort of articulate, or maybe it's not, but it sounds like you had a real awakening, maybe some sort of a spiritual experience where you really dove deep and you looked inside, and there was a moment where you just said, I've got to not do this for anyone else. I got to do it for myself. Or I would imagine that was sort of what it was, so that you can ultimately build a life back around you that you thought you were losing. There's a lot of people, especially in these days, right, with a global pandemic, lots of unemployment, just like lots of pivoting, lots of people questioning the past and understanding what it feels like to be in the present, or worried about the future. If there's a piece of advice that you can give someone out there that's listening that really is struggling to take the next step, or to climb out of the hole that you were once in, what would you say would be like just like an easily implementable first step?
Go do something for someone else. That's the easiest step. If you go ahead and go be of service or of value to someone else, go volunteer, go smile, go do something, do a good deed. That's the easiest and simplest way to shift your own mindset. And that will remind you the three things that you need to know, what you have control of. When things seem as if they're accelerating too fast, because change is the only consistent thing that exists. There's no certainty, right? If you could tell me, Michael, what's going to happen tomorrow, you and I could make billions of dollars. I've never met one person that could tell me with any certainty what's going to happen tomorrow.
Outside of Gary V.
Yeah, well, I'm with him. He's pretty humble. He'll admit he doesn't know everything, almost everything though. So that's coming from you and I.
Yeah.
Great point. But more importantly, when you realize you have control of your mindset, you have control of your heart set, and that's the way you feel. And then you have control of your conscious continuum, your conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind. You have control of the way that we input data and hold on to it, and process it and then utilize it. And so I use those three constructs to give people a sense of stability and control, because that's what makes people feel good. One of the things I've learned, a great lesson, is that logic does not heal our heart set. Meaning, a lot of people try to use logic to change the way they feel. And I'll give you examples. I'm sure you've been there just like me. Let it go, let it go. Oh, don't be so mad. Don't let that bother you. Oh, stop worrying, stop. These are the inside voices, right? No, that logic doesn't work. What actually works to resolve feelings is action. And so I let people take action to be in control of the mindset, the heart set, and their conscious continuum in order to effectuate actually activity. And Einstein and so many other great physicians and philosophers will tell you that nothing happens till it moves. The best thing to do is don't sit around and think about it and process it logically. Go and take action, and that will resolve your feelings and put you back into the pursuit of your potential.
Is there a specific, I mean, talking about action, because my life is all about action. I mean, there's nothing, that like
That's why I invested in you, man.
and by the way, I want to make a note that Mr. Meltzer is an advisor and an investor in my new company, Creatures of Habit. And so I'm so grateful. We're going to grow something really cool together, dude. It's going to be awesome. Thank you for believing in me and the brand.
Awesome.
But action is everything for me. My life was saved through taking action, and I don't mean just like trying to build a business plan or sort of connect with the right people. I mean literally. You talk about control. We can control what we do. We cannot control what any other fucking person, thing, or being does, thinks, or says. That is just the bottom line, right? We can only control how we respond to what goes on in the world and is thrown at us. And we can live a reactionary life, or we can live a life of response. I've learned over the years, as I've grown as an entrepreneur, that the less I say and the more I listen, the more I grow and the wiser I get. And that said, I take action every single day, physical activity. And I think that's one thing that people need to understand. We have control over fitness, right? Like if you are doing nothing in your life and you want to start feeling better, people ask me, what's the one thing I can do? And I say, get off your fucking ass and go take a walk, go take a run. Go get to the gym. Those principles have absolutely bled into my success as an entrepreneur. Now, I've come nowhere close to scratching the surface of where you are. I aspire to. That's why I got you on my team now, so I can learn from you. But would you say that there's an action, like an actual, like a thing that someone can do to utilize what you just said? In terms of action.
I think it's really, I mean, I think there's 5 daily actions that we take. And the first one is to take inventory of your values. And so what happens is people don't know their what. We're so lost in this myth about why. Your why. Your why is to help somebody with something. Trust me. But if you don't know your what, the why will never have a directive to it. So if you know your what by taking inventory of what do I want personally today? According to my long-term, midterm objectives, what do I want to do to take action today, personally, experientially? What do I want? Giving wise, what do I want to provide? Value, service, products, whatever it is, what do I want to be of service with? And then finally, most importantly, in my opinion, what do we want to receive? Because we can't give what we don't receive. And so many people, they have no problem giving, but they don't do what it takes to receive anything worth giving. And so I'm a huge believer in the first step is knowing your what. And once you know your what, Now you can know your who, your how, your now, and your why in order to effectuate what you want every day. And most importantly, as a caveat, don't be afraid of change. Don't be afraid of changing your mind. Don't be afraid of being a hypocrite and tomorrow telling people, oh, I was wrong. I learned this lesson because, I'm like Mike and I am here to listen and learn. I don't know what I don't know. And yesterday, these were my my inventory of values. These were the what's in my life. And because of what I learned from exploring the what, I now have changed my what. And that's okay.
If you don't mind, can you share with us your what?
Not today.
Mm-hmm.
So personally, what I want is, number one, to spend a minimum of an hour today on my health, which I've achieved. I want to spend a minimum of 30 minutes with my wife because I'm in Syracuse. I brought the San Diego weather. Don't let it fool you, but I'm in Syracuse with Gary. So I want to spend a minimum of 30 minutes with my wife, 30 minutes with my 11-year-old son, 2 minutes with my 3 teenage daughters, and a minute with my mom to tell her that I'm happy, healthy, love, and appreciate her. And then I want to execute with productivity, accessibility, and gratitude the activity I get paid for today first, and then the activity I don't get paid for after that. And I want to make sure that I stick to my unwinding routine by being unwinding by midnight tonight, Eastern time, 9 p.m. Pacific time, so that tomorrow I'll be up at 4 a.m. Pacific time, 7 a.m. to effectuate tomorrow at the highest frequency to plateau and grow. Those are my personal values. Experientially, I'm looking to provide great content to the people here at the Noble Conference with Gary. I'm looking to get some content with Gary, to sit down and get some advice from Gary, looking to meeting more people to build this collective consciousness of happiness. These are the things for me experientially, by speaking, masterminds, all the things they have me do, interview with you as well. Giving wise, for me, it's giving the most empowering speeches and Q&A that I can today. So I did office hours, I had Instagram Live, I have this interview, I did a mastermind, fireside chat, I have a speech, then a fireside with Gary. I want to bring the best energy and best advice that I can to empower others. That's the giving side. And then receiving, one, I want to make as much money as I can today. So I have a variety of different things going on, including getting paid to be here. But more importantly, I want to make money from all the other businesses, from owning an esports team to the real estate I have. I want to make sure that I bring in as much wealth as I can so I can give that as well. So my primary goal of receiving today is, number one, money, and two, lessons. So I, like I said, wanted to have all these wise people that are around me, including Gary, come in, and I don't get to see him very often in person. So I have, time set aside for a little one-on-one learning and teaching session between the two of us.
That's awesome, man. I mean, that the way you laid that out, I mean, it is obvious that this is part of your life. This is part of your lifestyle, the way you think this through. And I think that that's something that everybody listening here is going to really appreciate. So, the business that I'm launching is called Creatures of Habit. And habits are everything for me. Habits will make or break you. And they've done both for me. And so I would love to hear about a few habits that you have, that you've done consistently for periods of time that have truly impacted your life, that you can share with us, so that we can potentially implement them into ours.
Yeah, here's a few of my favorite habits. And first of all, the definition of my happiness with consistent, persistent behavior is habits, right? I mean, consistent, persistent behavior is a habit. Number one, I have an unwinding routine. So I shifted the paradigm of the man-made construct of time. So my tomorrow starts at 9 p.m. Pacific time tonight. And so my tomorrow, and what do I mean by that? That I am setting up my body, my mind, and my soul to be in the best position to utilize a very powerful segment of our life. It's about 1/3 of our life that most people ignore. It's called sleep. And so sleep, as you know, because of what you do, sleep is essential for recovery of the body. And if you sleep better, your body recovers better, which means it has more energy and can perform better tomorrow, in the next day. I don't even call it tomorrow because my tomorrow starts today. But more importantly, that's when our ego's most out of the way. We have the least amount of interference between us and the greatest source of power, light, and love that exists. So our subconscious and unconscious mind is free if we unwind correctly without alcohol, drugs, negative energy, thoughts, anxiety, all these things that we do in the unwinding routine to set ourselves up. Why? Because when I wake up or open my eyes, I am 8 hours into my day and I'm at my highest frequency at 4 a.m. and I'm plateauing every day. Most people live their life without habits and discipline. They live their lives like the myth of Sisyphus, Camus' The Stranger. They push a boulder to the top of the hill every day, and the only habit they have is to let it roll back down to the bottom of the hill so they can do the exact same thing the next day. You can plateau and grow by having the habit of unwinding and setting up your mind, body, and soul to plateau and grow. Then the second habit I have is meditation. And the reason I used to use meditation to get myself into center and neutrality, I actually use meditation now, 20 minutes of it when I open my eyes, to transcend everything that I've learned or experienced in my subconscious and unconscious journey of sleep, allowing my body, which is completely recovered, to get it at its highest potential or peak. So I'm taking a baseline through meditation, raising my awareness to where my higher self is, so that during the activities I get paid for and I don't get paid for during the day, then I can know where the baseline is. So when the ego, mostly the secondary parts of the ego, the need to be right, offended, separate, inferior, superior, anxious, frustrated, worried, guilty, resentful, when those things come present in my life, it's a trigger that I know sets off the primary ego, which creates fear, flight, fight, which means the blood's moving from my brain so that my body can run away or fight you. There's no use of the brain. So I now have a system that transcends as a baseline so that I stay at my higher self longer during the day. I call it plateauing and growing. And then the final habit, unwind routine, meditation, into being a student of my calendar. This is one of the most important habits you're going to have that can be implemented. A lot of people aren't going to do the unwinding routine. A lot of people don't get meditation. It's taken me 16 years of meditating to figure out it's just practicing being quiet, but most people won't. But this is one that everybody can do. Number one, studying your calendar. What does studying mean? Studying is the mathematical equation of luck. What you pay attention to, what you focus in on, and what you give your intention to, with the desire that you must be what you can be. So thinking, saying, doing, believing, all the things towards your objective. Attention plus intention equals coincidence. And when you get all the coincidences in your life that you want, people call you lucky. And the way that I do that is by being a student, right? Attention plus intention with coincidence of my calendar. And in my calendar, what do I put? I put the things that I have planned, the things I don't have planned, right? The empty space, and my sleep. And I use a lens of productivity. How much value or service, according to my inventory of values, am I going to provide? Accessibility. How accessible am I to others to be of service or of value? And how am I accessing what I want? Meaning, how am I receiving? And then finally, most importantly, one of the reasons I invested in you and the company, just not because it's about habits, which I love, and Michael, who I love, is a jockey of that big horse that he's riding, but most importantly is gratitude, right? You, Gary, and I live with the muscle, the discipline, the habit of gratitude, which is the power of finding the light, the love, and the lessons in everything we do, right? There's no work, there's no job, there's just occupation. What occupies us? Expansion, growth, and acceleration of gratitude, the ability to find the light, the love, and the lessons in everything. That's why you love to listen and learn, because you are grateful. And these three lenses utilized in the student of the calendar can produce so much during the day. It's incredible by using the mathematical equation of luck of being a student of the calendar as a habit.
Holy smokes. You are a goddamn legend, man. You really are, dude. Like that. I mean, I could listen to you all day long. I really could. Like, I think that, your experience and your ability to articulate your experience is so valuable. And I know value is like at the top of your quality barometer in life. And so I think that, just me listening to that, I love the definition of math, that the mathematic definition from
The
you.
luck.
I think the luck. I just think it's so wonderful because it's so true, right? Like, lucky people put themselves in lucky situations. I just want to unpack real quick the unwind, just so I can understand what it is, because I think everybody, meditation is going to be something that people are either going to take to or not, right? Like I love meditation. I really do. It is a game changer. I wish I did it more. I do it probably 4 or 5 days a week, and I could definitely use it 6, 7 days a week, twice a day. But what does the unwind look like for you?
Yeah, so unwinding, and I have a sleep coach, number one. So, I love athletes that they hire me to be their executive coach when they, transition from the NFL or the NBA. And they're like, I'm not really sure if I need a business coach, Dave. I said, hey, dude, you're the greatest basketball player maybe of all time. Have you had a coach? Yeah, since I've been 5. So why do you think you're probably not the greatest business person of all time, that in business you're not going to need a coach? Like literally, you're one of the best in the world of basketball. You have a coach. You're not one of the best business people in the world, and you don't want a coach, right? So for me, I wanted to learn about sleep, so I got a sleep coach, a medical doctor, Dr. Meeta Singh, who's the MLB, the Nationals coach, all the different teams. So I wanted her to teach me how to put myself in the best position to utilize sleep as an activity, right? Not as just some sort of, it's the number one habit we all share. You're a habit person. Most people on average do it 8 hours a day, but they never focus in on it. They never study it. So I have a coach for sleep, number one. I suggest everyone have a coach or learn from mentorship online. Two, I don't let anything negative happen after 9 p.m. So I don't look at my emails. I don't look at negative movies, TV. I have no negative energy. I keep everything at 67 degrees so that I'm in a perfect temperature as well for flow. Um, I
But
also,
real quick, just so the 67-degree piece, and you're still with your wife, correct? You guys are married. Does she appreciate 67 degrees, or do you have like a chili pad on your
so this
bed
will be
with?
one of those Dave's giving me too much information about his life. But when she was young, she hated it. And my argument was, you can always make yourself warmer. I can't make myself colder, right? You can always put a blanket on, a sweatshirt on, etc. Now, the blessing of getting older, and my wife's going to shoot me when she hears this, is menopause, because women get hot flashes. So she loves the 67 degrees now. Sometimes she turns it down
it has been an ongoing battle. My wife and I have been together since we're in our early 20s. It's been an ongoing battle for the last 17 years. And I have finally just succumbed to the fact that she's never going to want it to be cool in the room. So I literally have a cold like pad that I have on my side of the mattress that keeps it like 62 degrees. So I think that's such an important piece, the temperature of the room for great sleep.
Darkness is another one. Your body is very sensitive to light. And so, it's not just the screen light. People just have these lights on, and they don't think about things. They'll study. I don't do anything also even before 9 p.m. in my bed that associates with stress. So, I'm not a person who's going to study in bed. I made this big mistake in law school. I had no money, so I had only one room to live in, but I used to study all the time in my bed. And it's the only time in my life I had trouble sleeping. And so, I don't do anything other than what you would do in the bed, which is sleep. And we all know what else, I won't go there. Anyway, so furthermore, another thing is exercise. So in diet, beyond no alcohol, no drugs, no caffeine, but after 9 o'clock, for me, I want to wear out all my physical energy. So when 9 o'clock comes, the unwinding is allowing the let go, I call it, meaning, okay, you're pushing through the day all you can, all the energy, provide everything you got, just like your life's a bank card and you don't know if you're going to get a recharge tomorrow, right? You got unlimited use of funds, all day long. So use all your funds, and so I use all my funds during the day, energy wise. And if I've lived it right, by 9:05, I'm in REM. I'm in REM, which gives me, a good 7 hours to 4 a.m. I will be deep into REM at least 5 hours minimum. So I have to be in REM by 11 p.m. Pacific time. But most of the time, I'm getting somewhere between 6 and 7 hours of REM. That deep, unobstructed, uninterfered connection to the greatest source of light, love, and lessons, which is not only, look, here's what turned me on. Years ago, Bob Proctor told me that I had enough power in the movie The Secret. I had enough power in my pinky to light up all Manhattan. So if I'm connected to something that's giving me that power, then I want to make sure I got the clearest connection. I see my life very simply. I am healthy, I am wealthy, and I am happy. And so if I don't feel that way, then I better figure out what I'm doing to interfere with it. I'm not going to get healthy. I'm not going to get wealthy. I'm not going to get happy. I'm figuring out what am I doing to interfere with my health, my wealth, and the happiness, because I know I'm always connected to the greatest source of light, love, and lessons. And I am an expression of that genius. And so I just got to figure out, am I exercising it enough? Am I eating the right things? Am I thinking the right things? Am I doing the right things to clear the interference? In other words, my free will doesn't get me anything. It just clears the interference to what I already have.
Oof. All right, dude. Listen, I've got you about a minute and a half left. This has been wonderful. The podcast is called Born or Made. The way I typically launch the podcast or start the podcast off is where I get somebody on and I ask them their story and I have them walk us through their story. We didn't have a lot of time today. So I'm going to get you back on to ask you.
I'll come back
about your story. But the way I do end the podcast is with the same exact question every time. And the Born or Made sort of idea concept is, hey, do you think you were born with an inherent ability to do what you do today to get to where you are? Or do you think you were made over time?
Well, I was absolutely born with all the potential that I have, and it's my duty to pursue that potential. So I'm born with it, but not everybody takes advantages and makes it happen.
David Meltzer, you're the man. Go out there and get him. Give Gary a high five for me. I'm so stoked to do this business with you. I'm so grateful that you jumped on the podcast with me, and have a wonderful day, man. Keep inspiring us. You're the best.
You got it, my friend. I definitely want to come back, and I'm so proud of you, and I always have your back. So thank you so much.
Thanks, brother.
Take care.
Later, Dave.